as you'll see, this is an industry organization that is somewhat unique in the sense that we are not a group of companies or operators who are based on a particular technology. You'll see carriers who are pure Wi-Fi operators, of course, companies like Ozone and others. There are major mobile operators, companies like AT&T, Orange, and others. And of course, cable companies and broadband companies. So it's a very unique mix of operators, plus a lot of technology vendors. And all because they can see that Wi-Fi, as a major unlicensed technology, has a significant role to play in how you deliver wireless broadband services for consumers worldwide. But not just consumers, how you can enable a whole lot of other things in terms of the connectivity-based delivery services and so on and so forth. So I'll talk a little bit about some of that aspect. But very briefly, the organization has about 125 members, represents about a footprint of 20 million hotspots worldwide between the members of WBA, 2 billion subscribers. So that's what essentially the organization brings together in terms of shared strengths. I'll not go deep into this, but basically as an industry organization, we have been championing the technical developments in the next generation Wi-Fi. What next generation Wi-Fi is, essentially is the vision is to make Wi-Fi as seamless, secure, interoperable as you normally have for cellular services. You switch on a device, it looks for the network, it connects to the network and works automatically without a lot of user intervention, having to fiddle through SSIDs and passwords and other things. So that's the vision that WBA has been championing through next generation Wi-Fi. And that manifests in a lot of other things that we do in terms of technical development. As an industry body, we recognize that there are a lot of other bodies that are doing work, and especially Wi-Fi has to work with other technologies. It is not an island by itself. It's not a technology that by itself works or should work. In the broader scheme of things, the cellular technologies, the licensed technologies, even the unlicensed other technologies have a role to play. And that's why from a WBA standpoint, we work actively with other industry organizations. And that's again reflected in some of the projects and activities we do. Last but not the least, of course, we do things like this. We organize conferences and events more to get the industry together, share trends and best practices, learnings, insights from around the world. And of course, I'm today privileged to have some of our experts. Vijay, who is the CIO of City of San Jose, has kindly agreed to be here. And of course, Mr. Lee from Korea Telecom, as you know, they have been at the forefront of wireless and broadband technologies. He's here as well, and they'll be sharing some of the things they've been engaging WBA on and things that they do within their own space. Again, this is the main point here is to say that Wi-Fi has been generally understood as something that you apply for delivering public access, public Wi-Fi. But Wi-Fi has a role to play beyond public Wi-Fi, and as we are beginning to discuss that here, smart cities require a technology like Wi-Fi to deliver not just public access, but beyond that, enable a whole lot of the smart application and services that the consumers and the users and the residents and business can consume. Internet of Things, converged services, big data analytics, the roadmap to 5G, these are all going to be influenced and will have contribution from Wi-Fi. So those are the kind of things that you'll see WBA and our membership in the ecosystem working on and championing as we progress. I'll talk a little bit about India, and of course, as I expect, the distinguished guest here will probably have a lot more insights. But from where we stand, I see quite some interesting data points here. This is probably a data point that some of you may have seen. This is about how the traffic will balloon. And that's based on the fact that today, the smartphones, there are about, out of the billion connections which are there, and maybe 97% of those are wireless-based connections, only 130 million are smartphone users. That number is supposed to grow significantly to, let's say, about 700 million in a few years' time. The data consumption, as we all know, goes up. Today, if its average is about 1 gigabit per user or per subscriber, that will definitely multiply, if not more, at least 4 times. So what that means to the networks, what that means to the ability to deliver the services to the service providers and to anyone who needs to deliver service on the wireless broadband infrastructure. So the traffic is going to balloon. The smart city and the applications that it will demand will also make the things a little bit more challenging, or probably a lot more challenging. Now, all those challenges cannot and will not be met by just licensed technologies alone. You need Wi-Fi and you need other unlicensed technologies to be part of the delivery and the solution. And that's what we believe is an interesting point for India to take note of as we plan infrastructure here. It cannot be completely based on one particular set of technologies. It has to be a mix of technologies, and certainly Wi-Fi has a significant role to play. interesting data point we have seen worldwide is already Wi-Fi is carrying 50% of the data traffic worldwide by certain projections. And in certain markets like US and others, smartphones, 50% of the traffic is in fact today being carried on Wi-Fi networks. Coming to India in particular, it's very interesting that we see that there's a huge tele-density here, which is obviously growing. It's almost 80% from the reports I saw, 79.some%. There are 1 billion connections, 79% wireless as said. On the other side, if you look at the Wi-Fi space in India, worldwide by an estimate there are about 50 million hotspots, and we're talking public hotspots in various forms and shape in existence. India has 30,000. And that number shows and tells a story that there is quite a opportunity as well as a challenge to be overcome here in terms of how we can grow the footprint, especially if you're going to cater for the huge data traffic explosion that's going to take place soon. How that compares to other countries? So you look at the density of hotspots in India, it's almost like one hotspot for 40,000 people. How does it compare to some of the other countries? You can see France has 1 per 5 people. Even China has 1 per 250 people. So there's a lot of work to be done here, but there's a lot of opportunity and challenges that we can see. The industry needs to get together and do stuff. We're happy to be part of that, and we're happy to help the industry move forward based on all the global expertise and work we've been doing. So coming to India in particular, from a WBA standpoint, I think there are 2 things. Whoever is looking at Wi-Fi, you may want to keep in mind that there's a next generation of Wi-Fi that is now being developed and has been in fact deployed and implemented worldwide. Anyone looking at deployment in India must look at next generation Wi-Fi as a starting point. And in fact, that's the beauty of being a greenfield. You can start at the right footing instead of having to deal with the legacy networks and then trying to manage the 2. So that's one thing, and we would welcome anyone who has interest in learning from WBA, engaging with WBA in how do you deploy the next generation Wi-Fi. There's a program that we do. I hope there's someone here who will become the first NGH or next generation hotspot operator in India, and we're more than happy to work with anyone who's interested. Coming to the cities, there's one information I want to share with everyone. WBA has always been engaging with cities, again, San Jose, Vijay, and essentially San Francisco, New York, Barcelona. They've been engaging with WBA, and we've been having a good dialogue around how do you support the citywide Wi-Fi deployments. Now, to continue that dialogue on a meaningful basis, we thought we should formulate a sort of formal body, and I'm pleased to share that we announced a Connected City Advisory Board from WBA, which was just launched, in fact, about 10 days ago. And that will be an exclusive group of city leaders, CIOs, and city officials who will be invited, who are being invited to be part of that. And I'm pleased to share that, in fact, we had a discussion with the Delhi government, and Ashish and his team have kindly agreed to be part of this advisory board. And obviously what we're hoping is the dialogue that happens at the global level benefits in the plan with the plans that Delhi has, but also more importantly, I'm sure there will be innovations happening here that can go back into the global space, and the others can learn from what India has been doing or will be doing in time to come. So that's in a nutshell what WBA is all about. I'll have some more information here about how you can potentially engage with us. I'm not necessarily going to talk through that, but I'm looking forward to an exciting day here and look forward to talking to all of you. Thank you so much.